want to go right to Michael Farris. He is the Homeschooling Legal Defense Association head guy, and we have had him on a couple of times. You remember the family from Germany that left Germany because the state was going to take their children away because they wanted to teach them about God. They did not want them in public schools where it was godless and teaching them things that they didn't want to teach their children. And so their children came over here from Germany. We had them on the TV show a couple of weeks ago. They're remarkable people, just remarkable people. They came over here. They did it the right way. They came through the front door. They have asked for asylum. They were granted asylum. They set up their life. They're working. They're not on the government dole. They're making money. And they love America. And they're here for religious freedom. Well, Eric Holder decided, no, we're not going to grant you asylum. So he challenged the court and said, I want to make a different case. And the case that I want to make is homeschooling is not a God-given right. You don't have a right to homeschool. So they're not really being oppressed because there is no right. The government can take your children and educate them any way they want to. Yesterday, the federal government overturned the case. So now they're no longer granted asylum. They have to go home. If they choose to teach their children about God, their children will be taken from them. If this isn't the clearest case of oppression, if this isn't a clear case of people who need a refuge, need to come here to America so their children aren't taken away merely for their belief in God, merely for their belief that they should be able to teach their children, I don't know what is. This case has everything to do with your children. This case really is not about the Romeike family. This case is about what this government's about to do to you and your children. That's my belief. Michael Farris is here. Michael, shocking decision yesterday.
It was, Glenn. I had a hard time containing my emotions. I got a call as I was driving to the office when I got it in. It was all I could do, but it was very fast. It was very one-sided, and the court was. In oral argument, there was one judge that was incredibly aggressive and hostile. We were holding out hope for the other two, but it didn't work out that way.
Why was he hostile? Why was he hostile?
Well, what he was saying was basically everybody should obey the government. And to some degree, that was the essence of the opinion, is that because there's a compulsory attendance law for everybody in Germany, then tough beans. Just because it applies to you in a particularly harsh way, that's too bad for you. It's a general law.
Well, wait a minute. Wouldn't that... I mean, then couldn't you say that about the Jews that were in Germany?
Couldn't you say that about the Cubans who come here for asylum from Cuba?
I mean, so it's applied to you harshly.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
tough.
There's a lot of people that are in Cuba that don't have harsh conditions.
Sorry, you don't like communism. That's what you have to deal with. So
yeah, that's exactly the point. And they make the argument essentially this, that the only value we're going to protect is equal protection, which throws individual liberty into the trash heap. And because these people are standing on individual liberty claims. They're not saying that the law as written only applies to them in some peculiar way. But the harshness of the punishment clearly is aimed at the homeschooling. And the real essence of an asylum case is to prove persecution, and the essence of persecution is the government's motive, and that's real clear. I mean, the law is extremely clear on that point, yet they do not even quote, they do not even cite the statements by the Supreme Court of Germany, by the Court of Appeals of Germany, by the federal ministers of Germany that say out loud, very explicitly, we are trying to stop religious and philosophical minorities from getting a foothold in this country. That's what they say out loud. And by ignoring that motive is the only way they get to the conclusion that they've reached. And
so this is not just an attack on homeschooling here in America. I'm just trying to figure out where this case actually goes. Why out of all the cases that you could pick, why Eric Holder said this one? And so this one not only appears to me to be about your right to homeschool your kids here in America, but also religious liberty.
Oh, it does, and it goes with what we're seeing with the IRS and the attack on conservatives. The fact that Christian homeschoolers are seen as philosophical conservatives. The administration is dedicated to philosophical liberalism or progressivism, and they support their friends and they attack their enemies. And that's not what the court decision is about, but that's what Eric Holder is about. Eric Holder, I believe, cannot offer a legitimate justification for why we're pursuing leniency for 11 million people who came here illegally, and at the same time trying to deport this one German homeschooling family. There is no logical argument that can explain that disparity.
Especially, they're not on the government teat. They're not on the government teat. Everyone else comes over here that they're trying to excuse. Every single person that they're trying to excuse comes over here illegally through the back door, and then is taking all of our services. These guys are not taking the services. They are actually are they employed?
Yes, they're music teachers. They have students who come and get music lessons.
Are they paying their taxes?
Absolutely.
I mean, these people are paying their taxes. They're employed. Are they using their real names?
They're using their real
Have they stolen Social Security numbers? I mean,
no.
Why are we attacking these people? It is absolutely incredible to me.
That the administration wants. They want the people that fit the profile you just outlined.
And I will tell you this. This goes in to exactly what we talked about last week on For the Record. We did a special For the Record. The first half was on the Coptic Christians that this administration is paying no attention to, and they are being slaughtered. They're being raped, and so many are coming over here and trying for asylum. We still don't know if they're going to get asylum or not. I mean, are those Christians going to get asylum, or are we going to send those guys back, those people, literally to death? Oh, this.
Yeah. If the administration is going to be consistent, they're going to take a stand against those people as well, because they don't fit the profile that the administration is looking to curry. What we're learning every day about this administration is they're not interested in constitutional principles, except as a grounds of suppressing people. They're not interested in obeying the First Amendment, and they're certainly not interested in religious freedom. They have a political agenda. They punish their enemies. They reward their friends. And Coptic Christians, German homeschoolers, American homeschoolers line up on the wrong side of the track, and so rights, liberty, all of that gets thrown away when Eric Holder and Barack Obama are involved.
So, Michael, what happens now? Where do we go from here? You're appealing this, right?
We're doing a motion for rehearing to the entire Sixth Circuit. Every Court of Appeals decision is decided by 3 judges at the outset. In rare cases, all the sitting judges will decide to hear it en banc. And there's 15 judges that are active judges in the Sixth Circuit. You don't count the semi-retired judges that are senior status, but 15 judges. And we have to get one of those judges to say they want to circulate the petition, and then they take a vote. And if a majority of the 15 say, we want to hear the case, then we go into briefing and another oral argument.
And do you think you have...
If they don't, then we go to the Supreme Court.
Okay, so that would be the next step. Is if they turn that down, you're going all the way to the Supreme Court.
Right.
Yeah.
And both of these, the appeal to the Sixth Circuit that we just did is an appeal of right. They have to listen to us. The two appeals that are left are discretionary. Neither court has to grant even a chance to make the case. They first decide whether they think it's important enough to take the decision.
What are the ramifications for the 3 million or so homeschoolers here in this country? Does this affect those of us who homeschool, that this isn't just some right that we have to do with our children?
It not directly, but it builds a precedent about what our rights and what are privileges. And the position of the government, the Sixth Circuit decision in that regard was better than the government's position, but it's a far cry from a clean defense of rights. They said basically American homeschoolers may have the opportunity to make a case that's different because they can rely on the Constitution, whereas we don't judge Germany by our U.S. Constitution.
My gosh, we don't. Then what?
They're not living in Germany.
They're not living in it. I mean, this is incredible to me.
Wow.
Then why do we take a single person from Cuba or China or the boat people? Why don't we take the boat people and send them all back? Why didn't we take the Jews? Oh, well, I'm sorry. We were under a progressive administration. We did actually send the boat of Jews back. So at least they're being consistent.
They're being consistent.
Unbelievable.
And so, wow. So they pay a little bit of lip service to the rights of American homeschoolers, but the essence of the government's argument is this. Homeschooling and religious freedom are not individual rights that are protected. They're privileges that the government can grant you or not grant you. And if they have a broad general law that bans your rights, then just because they're privileges, they go away. That's the ultimate government position. And, what the Sixth Circuit opinion will sort out to be in the long run, it's a building block in the wrong direction. It's not a complete eradication of our rights, nor could it be, since it's just a circuit court opinion. The Supreme Court and the Justice Department can do more damage to us. They also can vindicate us. And there's no reason Eric Holder can't end this mess today and just simply say, you know what? I'm going to grant him asylum. He could do it today, and he doesn't have to wait for any more court decisions. If he wanted to get to do something to show that he has a little bit of an even-handed spirit about him,
no way.
Then
there's no way he'd do that.
He would sign this today. I'm not expecting it. I'm not holding my breath, but he could. He has the authority and the ability to do it today if he wanted to.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Crazy thought. Does a state have the ability to say, we as the state are going to grant this family an asylum?
Well, I've been thinking that through, because usually when it comes time to deport them, they have to get the sheriff to come and arrest the people. I think that the Tennessee legislature could pass a law that basically says we direct our sheriffs not to deport people under these circumstances, not to cooperate. And, I think that there is a path for exploration of a state override of the federal mandate in this particular circumstance. But that's something that we're going to have to pursue. There's also the ability to go to Congress and get them to pass individual legislation that protects this family. And if we fail in the courts, that's where we're going to go next. We will go and attempt that. I've told the family, I've actually literally said it's going to be over my dead body. They send you back to Germany. So I'm going to do whatever I possibly can do, and I'm going to keep fighting. And I am not giving up on this. And we're in the seventh inning, and we're behind at this point. But the eighth and ninth innings are still coming, and we're going to keep fighting.
Michael, you have my commitment. You tell the family that over my dead body as well.
Okay. All right.
We're in this for the long.
I am happy to stand shoulder to shoulder with you, Glenn, on just about anything. So thank you very much. And thank you for all you've been doing for this family, for this case. Your generosity and your support have been absolutely exemplary and have led the way for others who've been willing to help as well. Thank you
How are you guys doing on cash for all of this? Do you need, would it help if people?
You've been so generous with us that, what's been happens happened so far has been paid for. It's we're good as of this moment. There's going to be other things, but we will never turn down more help. But
what is your web address?
Express generosity for what you've done to date.
Is it hslda.org?
That's the website. Yep, that's the main organization. If people want to give tax-deductible contributions, they should do it through the Homeschool Foundation. That's our C3 arm.
And what's the web address?
They can just link off of the main web address to
You need a more clever website because nobody's going to remember. HSLDA.
Okay.
Homeschool Legal Defense Association, HSLDA.org. Go there.
That's what happens when the organization's 30 years old.
I know. Thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate it. God bless.
All right. God bless you.
All right. Bye-bye.